I'm Kyle Hevley. I'm here at the Cookery talking to Kyle Jansen, the owner of Ponysaurus Brewery, and I'm out of water. So the important thing is we should try some of your beer.
Let's do it.
So I'm curious how you decided to start a brewery, and like I'm actually specifically curious about how long from that decision until it actually happened.
Well, Nick and I, Nick, one of the owners of the Cookery, Nick and his wife Rochelle own this place, had been talking about the idea on and off for probably about 6 months. The short version, basically waiting for somebody to tell us that we couldn't.
Right.
Because we're in somewhat of a unique situation, having it, within a kind of adding it to an already existing business.
Right.
And so once we got to the, kind of the point where the various, regulatory agencies had kind of given us the vague, send us your paperwork and we'll look at it. We kind of pursued it full time, and it took from about that point until opening was about a year.
Okay.
And part of the process for me was that, doing it here, doing it with these guys meant that I had support and experience from people who already knew about how to start a business, who already knew how to start a food business, and who were able to help kind of guide the construction process, the marketing process, the branding, all of that, who had experience with that. So it was a lot less intimidating for somebody who was an elementary school teacher,
right,
to just kind of jump off a cliff and start this.
Two very different career paths.
Very different career paths. It was a less intimidating experience to do it with people that I knew were able to support.
Right.
Support the endeavor, and then the last piece that kind of fell into place was David Baldwin, who is the other partner in the brewery.
Okay.
And he runs Baldwin & which is a design advertising. I believe their website refers it to as a design branding creative thingy.
Creative thingy.
Creative thingy.
Okay.
In Raleigh, and he was excited about the beer. We sat down and drank some beers. We kind of talked about what ideas we had for kind of the branding of the business, and he thought that it sounded great, so he joined the team, and it is the three of us that kind of run the show, for better or for worse.
But you're the only one that does any of the brewing, right?
Yes,
okay.
I am the brewmaster. Nick is the ringmaster. David is the brand master. So we all have our own roles.
Master of their own domain.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
I do many things that fall within my skill set and my skill set only, as do each of them.
Okay. So your brewery is very unique.
It is in almost every way.
Yeah. So you have your hot side in a public kitchen. Well, not
Yes.
a public kitchen, but
Right.
a co-op kitchen.
Yep.
And then you pump your wort to the fermentation,
Yep.
on the cold side,
Yep.
which is floating in the air
Yes.
on a mezzanine.
Yes. One of the ways where this worked out well was that certainly trying to put a brewery in an already existing place like this in some ways was more complicated than starting from scratch.
Right.
But at the same time, that meant we already had the relationships with the inspectors, with the regulators, who have already been in this kitchen, and all the floor drains and the hood vents and everything that are needed to make a place safe and sanitary were already in place and
Right.
already approved and inspected. So that and I know that's certainly an angle that a lot of new builds get hung up on. That's complicated stuff. It can get expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
And we had that. We
Stainless steel
kind of
isn't
had
cheap.
that already kind of taken care of. So that was a definite advantage. The beginning of our kind of planning process
Right.
was right around the time where they were finishing construction in the room we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put in some of the really basic infrastructure to have the brewery in here. Not any of the kind of finished carpentry to make it look nice, but they made sure the platform is reinforced so that it could hold the weight. I mean, we'd done the calculations.
Right.
We ran the plumbing up there when the plumber was here already running the plumbing. We ran the electricity here while they were already here installing the electricity for everything. So you wouldn't have known that from the ground. But the plumbing and the electricity, the ventilation, and the engineering support were all there.
So the brewery was in mind while this room was being built.
And while that was happening, we were certainly still in planning stages and would have said that yes, we're going to open a brewery. But I think at that point we also thought that there still might be something that would come up that we hadn't anticipated that might mean it wouldn't work. So we were able to do kind of the heavy lifting ahead of time, so that really the only thing that happened towards the opening of the brewery was the installation of the windows and the walls up there.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty much ready to go.
So I'm curious. Most breweries that I've been to have like fairly large square footages with French drains, and they just don't care if you spill something on the floor because it's all going to get sprayed down with a hose at the end of the day anyways.
Yeah.
You obviously can't do that here.
That's true.
So how do you deal with cleaning and drainage?
Well, I can show you this when we get up there, but there is a rubber floor on the platform with a floor drain built in.
Okay.
So it's not certainly as extensive or certainly not trying to remake a whole trench drain system, but it's certainly covers spills. I can rinse it down, I can mop it down, and then
right. So it basically all levels out or falls into the center and then drain like.
And then there's also an overflow that actually goes to the outside. If for some reason,
in case
the floor drain got clogged,
okay,
it can go out instead of coming down through the floor and all
okay.
that. And then there's a curb as well,
right,
that separates the regular floor from the drainage area.
In case a tank busts and then